Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome back to the Sunday Pub. I was meant to not be here, as most of you pub regulars will know. I was meant to be out of town doing nerdy things with gaming friends in a 17th century mansion out in the countryside. And the night before I was meant to leave, a gout attack started. So now I am more or less unable to stand or walk, but that's good news for the pub, because otherwise there would be no pub this week anyway. Guess who we have? I think first time pub guest, Herr Professor Dr. Philip Chase.
So Matt, you're telling me that you're stuck with Gout and me instead of being in a 17th
Luckily,
century
I'm not
mansion
stuck with Gout
playing...
and only you. That would be unbearable. But we've also got first-time pub guest, Wiz. Andrew, how you doing, man?
I'm here. I'm alive.
I saw your last video, so I understand your reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad you're here. We've also got regular pub guest, Derry. Good to see you, man.
Hello.
Derry.
How are you?
It's lovely to see you all, however awful your situation is, Matt. My heart breaks for you.
The thing that really annoys me about gout, and I get a gout attack maybe 2 or 3 times a year, is first of all, when it's not actually happening, it's really easy to forget that it ever happens.
Yeah.
And secondly, when it is happening, if you do what I'm doing now, everything is totally fine. It's like nothing ever happened. And then you stand up and you remember, oh, that's right, excruciating pain. I forgot about that for a minute. Yeah, it's so annoying. I hate it. I really hate it.
Or does it hit you in your knees?
No, gout is almost always in your foot. And weirdly, it's also very specifically almost always in your left foot, in the joint at the base of your big toe. This is the first time I've ever had it where it was in my heel, actually, which is better, I guess, than the big toe.
It had a favorite place to be. I thought it appeared in just joints.
No, I mean, the basically what it's doing is
the left foot, the joint, the
big
toe.
Yeah, and basically what it's doing is certain kinds of acid called uric acid forms in your blood, and your bloodstream goes down. Where it reverses and starts coming back up into your body is in your left foot. So the uric acid, being, I guess, heavier than the rest of the flow of blood, settles in your foot, and the uric acid starts crystallizing. You get these crystals in your joints, and it's weirdly specific. It's normally, like every other time I've ever had it, it was in the base of my big toe, in the big joint there. And this time I actually had to Google it. I was like, did I bang my heel and I forgot about it or something? Why is my heel hurting? And then I
That's a
Googled.
getting old thing, Matt.
Yeah, no, I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything.
Covered in bruises. What happened?
Yeah. And then I Googled it. I was like, gout heel. And like, it happens. It's rarer. It's much rarer than the toe joint. But yeah. That's why they're
bruises.
Yeah.
I bruise much easier now, apparently. And I quite often will go, where did I get that bruise?
Yeah.
And then I realized that everybody does it. Andrew, you'll notice it heaps because you've got kids now. And you probably are aware of it, Philip, but I don't know if you've made the connection. The first thing anyone does when they notice a bruise is poke it. Everybody does it. They're like, oh, a bruise. I'm going to poke the area that is visibly painful. I'm going to poke it. I figured out why we do that. And I think it's to remind us what gave us the pain in the first place. Because
you have a spot there that looks painful. Maybe I'll just check quickly.
And I go, oh, I remember.
Does this hurt?
Yeah.
What I get are random. That's not a suicide attempt. That's fits.
Well, she's a big girl. She could do some damage if she was really.
I get random cat scratches all over me all the time. I just clipped her fucking claws, front claws anyway, yesterday because it was well past time for that. Let me say hi to some people. K2's here.
Love
It's
K2.
the usual suspects. Yeah, thanks, Osa. I am actually gutted and extremely fucking disappointed that I had to cancel.
It sounds like it would have been awesome, and you have to spend it with us. I'm so sorry.
Well, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. I mean, other than Philip. I mean, I've got kind of my booktube nerd family, and then I've got my gaming nerd family, and they're all nerds. And I see all you nerds much more often than I see my gaming nerds.
So we're just the less exciting friends, is what you're telling us.
Well, the less rare friends, at least. Jerome was also meant to not be here, but unfortunately he made it.
Hopefully not.
Probably not with gout. I'm assuming it's not a gout problem with him. Jared's here. The horrors
quite a full house, I can see.
Yeah, quite a few people.
I have a shirt that has an octopus on it that says "The horrors persist," and so do I.
I like it.
Okay.
I was wearing it yesterday.
Justin's here. Rogue's here. Anita's here. Yeah. Does Philip go to the pub? I mean, like the real pub?
He can probably order a tea.
Oh,
I imagine he's fond of an old tavern.
Long time. If I live somewhere where there were nice pubs, I might, but I don't.
The thing I'm really excited about as a pub goer, in Germany, there are really nice outdoor pubs called Biergarten. Biergarten. And they close, of course, over the winter. And they're just starting to reopen. So nice. I'm looking forward to going to Platergarten, which is the one in Berlin, which is this huge. It's really weird, actually. It's in the grounds of an old East German DDR swimming pool. So it's actually got like a diving tower in the middle of it. You sit on tables around a diving tower. We've also got a nerdy Kathy.
Hi, everyone.
Good to see you, Kath.
Good to see all of you. And
Now,
hello,
are you still up
everyone in the
late, or
chat.
did you get up early?
I actually had a nap a few hours earlier.
Kath, you can't call it a nap if it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's like just a short.
That's not a nap.
I can.
That's not enough sleep, is what that's called.
No, it was a nap. It was a nap. I'm going to go to bed after this, actually, because I don't have anything on today. Yeah.
All right.
You're
I know.
secretly
I'm
a
a
vampire.
vampire. What can I say?
You
Yeah.
are a vampire. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you're
For
probably-
context, anyone who doesn't know, Kathy's in Australia, and it's even earlier there than it is here, and it's just gone 6 in
4
the
a.m.
morning.
Yeah, it's 4 in the
And-
morning. Crazy.
4 in the morning
Kathy-
here. Yeah.
Evie
Always awake at
will
this time.
apparently jump on and join us later.
Cool.
Nice.
Thornall, good to see you, man.
Easter to all. Happy Easter to anyone who celebrates.
The
My
cheap
Easter
chocolate
gift
is
is my
nearly
kids
here.
are out with extended family.
That sounds like an Easter holiday to me.
Yeah.
We celebrated
I
Easter yesterday. They get second Easter today. They're in a different state.
Wow. Okay, so you really
That's
got rid of
good.
your kids.
For the whole day.
Wow. Brian's here. Good to see you, Brian. Congratulations on the snazzy haircut, apparently, Philip.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's an internationally published author with audiobooks and everything happening. He's got to maintain appearances here.
DDR, no,
Can't look like
no.
a small ball.
DDR was a lot less cheerful than a Dance Dance Revolution. It was the
Ooh,
Deutsche
that's a Dance
Demokratische
guy. Nice.
Republik.
It's shiny.
Mm.
This is the posh fancy way
I
of
bought this
Daniel.
on my birthday as a gift to myself.
Nice.
Ooh,
That's a
let's
wise-
She's so
unmirror
pretty.
you. There we go.
Cool.
Fancy.
That's the broken binding. Oh, wow.
Ooh,
Okay,
very
Philip, you get
fancy.
bonus points for the really pretty naked hardcover. That is pretty.
Yeah.
Look at this awesome map.
Yeah.
Mm. That is really nice.
Yeah,
Shepherd.
Shepard's maps are very cool.
It's gorgeous.
I like his work a
I
lot.
am a
That is
fan.
beautiful.
Nice. So how's that feel, Dr. Fantasy?
Oh, I still pinching myself. See,
You'll have a bruise there later. Be careful.
Yes.
I'll have a bruise.
I have
Is that a
Ow.
bruise?
Ow.
Damn.
Oh, but I'm
I have
glad because you've got the
audio
full
Yeah,
trilogy
no.
coming.
Binding.
Sorry.
I couldn't hear either of you. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's a privilege to have a book at all out there and have people reading it. And the idea of working with the Broken Binding and the incredibly talented artists there. Renee Egner did that beautiful dust jacket that Andrew was just showing, and Peng Lu did some of the interior art. The rest was done by Renee. And Patrick, of course, did a great job as art director. We already talked about Jack. He did a fantastic job with the map. And Kate did the hardcover there with the raven and also the back. And she did all the little chapter
Nice.
heading
Beautiful.
things and the typography on the cover. Yeah, I mean, just really amazing people and nice people to work with.
Cool.
So,
Thrilled.
yeah.
I mean, after working on the trilogy for what, 18 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, before I
It's got to
published
be
it in
pretty cool to have it
2023,
out
yeah.
there. People are liking it, and Broken Binding wants to do.
To get
special
the
editions.
special, beautiful
Yeah.
editions.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm honestly just as thrilled about the audiobooks as I
Also
am about
that.
the special
Yes.
editions.
I haven't.
They are
I don't really do audiobooks that much.
I do.
I don't
But
either really much of one. Yeah.
Every time I hear someone talk about it, and because I know Alan, I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I should pick up the audiobook.
You really should.
You know,
I
it sounds like it's been done really, really well. Like he did a great
Really
job.
well.
The only problem with the audiobook
Yeah.
is that at any given moment, I expect Alan to just start ranting about the education system.
Yes. Although I will admit, I forgot it was Alan, and that I was aware that one of the reasons I had also got it on audio was because Alan was narrating it. But after like the second sentence, it didn't register that I was listening to Alan. He just sort of poured himself so amazingly into it that it didn't register that this
Yeah.
was my friend. It is just an incredibly good audiobook. I can't praise him
I'm
enough.
actually
It's so good.
listening. I was actually listening to it today on the way to visit my brother, and he is just
Wow.
so brilliant at
really
doing all the
He's really good.
voices that you really have to think about. Hang on, that is not another person doing this voice. It's actually all Alan. He's
Yeah.
really made them very distinctive, so you immediately know who the characters are. And I'm very, very new to audiobooks, so it's taken me a while to get through it, but I just love hearing how he's bringing it to life, and he really does. He did a brilliant job.
He really did.
That
Yeah.
would be my only fear. What Andrew said, like listening to an audiobook narrated by someone you actually know and whose voice you're quite used to,
Yeah.
and who has a very specific way of speaking. Usually, I would also just be waiting for the rant about his students, or
Yeah. No,
something
none of
about
that.
I make a
Rome,
point
or
of saying
you know.
that I forget that it's Alan
Yeah.
because
Mm,
it just never even occurred to me.
yeah.
Having said that, though, every time anyone else mentions that it's Alan, I do think that a blooper reel would be brilliant. Because I can just
Cradle.
imagine.
The Cradle series, narrated by Travis Baldry, has bloopers in the back of each
Really?
audiobook.
Oh, I
cool.
love that.
I'd love
I
to.
do
I'd
love-
love to hear Alan screwing up, because I'm sure it'd be hilarious.
I don't know actually that it would, because I think he would
That
be,
never happens.
well, I think he would be genuinely angry with himself. He's such a perfectionist.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know that bloopers necessarily would be funny.
Yeah, that's
But,
true.
They're
He
hilarious.
is,
I
and
love
that's
them. Personally, I really love them.
yeah, I think
Yeah, it would be fun. One reason that I think the audiobooks are as really amazing as they are, even though it's his first time doing it. There are two things, I think. One is what Derry just mentioned. Alan is a perfectionist. He's done this so professionally. He's done it meticulously. He's worked very hard on this. The other thing is he's just so damn talented, and like Kathy was saying, he does all these voices, and I forget it's Alan when I listen to him. And he's just that good with the voice. Even minor, tiny characters, he gives these very distinct voices. So I just think he's done I hope that once he's done, nobody can steal him until he's done with the Adan trilogy, okay? But once he's done with my books, I really hope that
He was talking about that on Chatting with Nuts the other night.
Yeah.
About
We're pushing
the
Christina, 'cause
possibility, at
Christina will
least,
be the
of
one.
starting a side career or a career in doing voiceover. And it sounds like, I mean, I haven't heard him yet myself, but it sounds like he really could.
He really could. I mean, Andrew, you'll probably have done the most audio listening. He's got to be up there, surely.
Yeah, he would definitely be in what I would easily call the
Evie.
top 10 to 20% of top narration performances. Like he could easily dominate that space.
Yeah.
And that was his first attempt.
Right?
Yeah.
At home.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
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 Oh,
Evie.
I also,
Good to see you.
Hello.
So-
sorry, I did interrupt.
So
Hello. Nice
people
to
have
see you again.
been asking. So, what is everyone reading? We always sort of start with what is.
I
everyone reading?
am
Okay,
finishing
I'm
up.
gonna-
Oh gosh, how do I do this again?
I'm gonna.
chunk.
I can flip you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh wait, no,
Nope.
you were unmirrored already.
oh,
Yeah, Derry's unmirrored. You're fine.
I am finishing up God's Country by Percival Everett. I have like 40 pages left.
Okay.
Halfway through this tome.
Yes.
well
Of
done.
all the
Yeah.
hell.
It's only a little chunky.
It's massive. It's 1,296 pages.
No.
It's going to take me weeks, but I'm halfway.
Yeah.
So
Well
I'm
done.
really, I'm loving it. What
I'm
a
doing-
surprise.
I'm
Brain
reading
flush.
a similar sort of chunky Return of the Crimson Guard. It's like 1,100 pages, and I'm
Oh.
getting on towards 800. So
Well,
moving
you're getting there. You're
towards the
nearly
end.
at some fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm doing Brain Fluff because my next one is Assassin's Quest.
That's a
so
fun
I'm-
one, Derry.
Sorry?
That one's fun.
Change this. I'm enjoying it. I'm only how many pages? I mean, I'm not even 50 pages in, and I'm already laughing.
I've never even heard of it. What is it?
It's the
The
Parasol
Parasol
Protectorate.
Mm.
I haven't
It's
Okay,
more,
that
it's
I
more
have heard of.
romance, parasol, like it's
It's Elizabethan? No, Victorian.
it's more Victorian.
It's Victorian.
urban
I'm just thinking.
fantasy.
It's
I
Victorian
haven't read them,
England.
but I've got
There's vampires. There's werewolves. There was a romance in the first book, and now it's a big mystery because all of the paranormal people have lost their paranormalness and they don't know
Okay.
why. And anyway, so
Oh.
I'm having fun with it.
Jared
was
is
all-
apparently reading the same thing you're reading,
Nice.
Herr Professor Doctor.
Is that the third one?
Actually, I'm
That's the
hoping
third, isn't it? Yes.
it's the
Cool.
third one. Yeah, it's the third book in the Library Trilogy by Mark Lawrence. And I'm hoping to be able to talk with Jared and Marianne and a couple other people probably next month about it in a discussion. It is actually turning out to be one of the most brilliant commentaries I've seen on our times. It's just
Okay.
amazing. And it's, of course, it's fantasy. Is it fantasy? Is it science fiction? Is it, I don't know, dystopian? I don't know. It's very difficult to categorize this, but it is actually is my favorite thing by Mark Lawrence so far, and I loved everything I've read by him. So this is just really brilliant. The metaphor of the library. I've been feeling like I'm beginning to. I'm like halfway through the third book. I'm feeling like I'm now just beginning to really understand where he's going with this metaphor, and it's pretty amazing actually. Just very provocative, very, and plus there's a really tugs at your heartstrings. There's a really great story in there as well. I am in awe of this book. I mean, I've always loved his writing, but this trilogy is and I've got half of this left, but if it turns out to be as good as I'm hoping, man, this is going to be my read of the year.
Oh wow!
You're
Right.
the only
So-
person, Philip, who's managed to make me rethink never wanting to read Mark Lawrence ever again.
If you're talking about you read Prince of Thorns and you DNF'd it, this is
Yeah, no, I've
totally
I've
different.
understood that, and we talked about it at some point in the past. He's got other series where I
Yeah.
was like, maybe I might try that out. But
I
Prince of
love
Thorns
Game
was
of
just like, oh my god, this is just so annoying. It was like usually I'll DNF something because I don't care, like I'm just
Yep.
bored, or I don't really. It doesn't interest me what happens next. With that book, I was actively irritated. Like it just annoyed the crap out of me, and I got about halfway through, and I was like, I cannot spend any more time with these annoying characters. This one specific annoying character, who unfortunately is the protagonist.
You don't like Jork?
Yeah. Oh my god, York. No, I couldn't get away from York quick enough.
See, I find
Unbelievably
Jalen in the sequel trilogy much more annoying.
I'm glad I didn't get to it.
Oh, he's so funny.
More annoying than York is
They're
hard for
very
me to imagine. Oh
My
my
favorite
God.
Mark Lawrence will always be, because I'm done with Mark Lawrence, but it'll always be the Book of the Ancestor.
That's a
I
brilliant
really
trilogy.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
and my only gripe with it is I get so mad when people are like, "It's assassin nuns." No, it's not. They don't know. There's no assassination. They're warrior nuns.
I
One is
love
not-
this.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Grey Sister?
Yeah.
Okay, I've
Yes.
got that one, so I should read that. Yeah.
Assassin Nuns.
I haven't
sounds
read
a lot
any Mark
cooler, though.
Lawrence. I want to
It does
try
sound
him.
cooler. It's just wrong.
It's just not what the book is. Yeah. Got
correct. They may go out and do assassinations, but it's not on the page whatsoever.
Right. Okay.
There's my laugh for the week. Yeah, that's just not going to happen, Mitch. It's
Mitch,
just not going to happen.
you've got such a long way to go if you're coming for Derry's crown, my dude.
Like last month or earlier this month, when I closed out my reading of Royal Assassin for the 20-somethingth time, I actually had got to the point where I was thinking, is there an upper limit in how many times I can read these books? Because I had
I don't think so.
whole body, overly emotional sobbing happening to a completely innocuous scene, because I had so much background knowledge about what was happening with all of these characters and why that sentence that meant nothing to the main character had such a huge impact on the person who heard it. And I was like, this might be why this read is hardest, because
you may have reached a point of having read it too much.
Yeah, I feel like I've reached maximum saturation of the story.
I just want to recognize also for reading Shards of Earth, which is awesome.
Nice.
Also,
Shards
Andrew,
of
what are
Earth
you
is
reading? Because
so
you keep
good.
holding up your book. And
Andrew, we skipped so far.
Beware of chicken.
Beware of Chicken.
You've done a
Okay.
couple of shorts with the Beware Chicken thing.
Beware of
that.
Chicken
What's
is fantastic. It's fantastic. It's heartwarming. It's entertaining. It's sweary. It's cozy, and I like it. It is
Excellent.
a
All right.
Xanthia cultivation progression novel, and it's wonderful. I'm currently on the second book, but I don't have a physical copy of that yet, so I held up book 1, and I'm reading Fairy Tale by Raymond Feist.
Oh, what do you think of that?
Cool.
I read that years ago.
My
Yeah.
my
I've read
short
it a few
today is about Feist is just underrated. Even
Yeah.
I've read 7 books by Feist. I've loved every single one. He's never made a list for me, and I don't know why.
I actually know the answer to this, Andrew. And it's because his stories are really good and really interesting, but he's not a particularly good writer.
I disagree.
Because I reread Fairy Tale last year, maybe the year before, and I was genuinely upset at the fact that BookTube had made me so much more aware of other writers that I was let down by what had previously been among my favorites. And I was like, this is actually isn't that great.
Fairy
I
Tale
love
is
the story.
it's sold as a horror book, but so far I'm
It's not.
25% in. There's no horror in this. This
No,
book is not
it's not a
scary.
horror. It is creepy because he was one of the first writers
It's
who
got
came back to
atmosphere.
fairies being scary.
It's got dark fairy atmosphere, but other than that, like Jim Butcher is scarier with his fae
Well, scary.
than
But
Fairy
again,
Tale is.
This was
So that-
before that.
Yeah, so that's my main critique. But I mean, it's really good. I've enjoyed the Empire trilogy. I enjoyed
Yeah.
Rift War and Fairy Tale. Fantastic stories.
I love fairy. I like the story of Fairy Tale is one of my favorite stories. But the last reread, I was like, it's actually not written particularly well.
I like it.
I think the other thing with Feist is just he was a very hype author.
Yeah.
Like before you were born, Andrew.
Because you're just a baby.
No, I mean when I was a teenager,
you're
in my
little.
20s, Feist was pretty big name in the fantasy genre, and it just seems to me like mostly people have forgotten about him. You know, he didn't. I don't know if he's put out anything in.
He has. He's still writing.
He has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Rift War things are still coming out. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, his Riftworth stuff is sort of unending. But
No, he's brought out a new series, actually a new trilogy. I haven't read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. He's actually got a
okay.
different trilogy. I think he's even
done.
started a sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Might be worth
Yeah, I
reading
mean his magician series or book, depending on the edition you have, was a really big deal back then. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
that,
and it
that
is
was
still a
like
really
one of
good
the absolute
standards.
standards of
Yeah.
fantasy back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm about to have a third edition of this because I'm getting the broken binding as well.
Okay.
it. Nice.
I've been wanting to reread it. I've got nothing special paperback editions on my shelf, but actually garbage paperback editions because they just have horrible covers.
Both of those
But
especially.
They were the only
I've got
ones
the
I
big.
could
I
get.
used to have the big fat mass market paperback with the almost purple cover, but I
I
gave it
would
to
like
the-
to have the.
Ooh, that's a nice
Love it,
copy.
Philip.
Oh, wow. Okay. That
I have the
that is a
author's
weird one. I've never seen that
edition.
before.
I've
I
seen
haven't
it,
seen that one
Yeah.
before.
Funky.
but I've only ever seen it online.
I like that.
That is really strange.
That's on Teleron.
That's a strange cover actually
Okay.
for the book, isn't it?
Yeah. It's about birds,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
It's,
Looks like it. Yeah, I read this. I don't know
Yeah.
how long ago. It's been.
It's one of the
I don't know,
formative
30 years or
fantasy stories, I think, for a lot of people.
I had
Really our age.
the Apprentice Master
Mhm.
um,
Mm.
2 paperbacks with the
I never knew.
I forget which
until
artist
Bookish.
did them, but they had
there was
really
two.
really nice, very representative covers. I forget.
I've always had
Who
it
did them?
in one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magician Apprentice was always in Australia, sold as one book.
Yep.
And I
Okay.
also had the hardcovers. I think they're called the author's preferred edition.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're similar to what I've got.
Oh, I like
But,
that second one. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
Magician was always one book to me. So when people were saying there's Magician Apprentice, I was like, which is this book that I haven't read?
I haven't read that one.
I
Yeah.
had to go
me
look
too.
for it and realize, no, I've actually read that. Yeah.
It's like the
Actually
it's like
read it
the
30 years, and I really enjoyed it.
it's like the
even on a
4-book
single-
trilogy by Ted Williams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 Green Angel Tower can be one book that's about this big, or it can be 2 extremely big books.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with other ones. Ted Williams. It was supposed to be a trilogy, and it's 4 books as well.
Yeah.
That's right. Douglas Adams still wins for the most ridiculous trilogy that has 5.
Nostalgic Dragon. Which Ada Palmer have you started? Terra Ignota? Because Terra Ignota is fucking awesome. Yeah,
I'm pretty
Also-
sure
also
that's
read
the
it.
only Ada Palmer is Sarah Ignota.
it might be. Yeah, no, it might be. I'm completely unaware of anything else she's done other than be a professor and write introductions to things. That's how I got onto her. Is she wrote an introduction to Book of the New Sun, and I read that and I was like, "Damn, she sounds really interesting. Who is she?" And I looked her up and immediately found her sci-fi series. Yeah, I'd really like to read. I'd really like to reread Magician. I'm curious. I'm kind of hesitant, like that nostalgia hesitancy,
But
where
a
it's like,
solid traditional.
is it
fantasy
going to
that's
be
not quite
as good as I expect it to be?
cringy as Dragonlance?
I really
has,
loved it.
but
on the
Magician
reread.
holds up.
Yeah,
If you
I
still
reread
want
it a
good,
couple of
solid-
years ago and I loved it.
Yeah.
I still loved it. I have a few quibbles with it, especially
Yeah,
the
it's just
females in the
solid-
series
You know,
are so, just fluff.
Pretty,
and that
and
does
pretty much-
bother me.
pretty
but it
much
bothered me back
nobody-
then when I read it.
pretty much nobody
then.
with a penis who was writing back then wrote good female
Yeah.
characters.
That's true.
the
Like,
the
there were
Empire
a
trilogy
couple of
that goes with it is
The
excellent.
Empire trilogy makes up for it. Yeah.
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 yeah,
but that's Jenny Wirtz. So.
Definitely.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thornall's thinking about reading the Culture series. Have any of you read the Culture?
I've got book 1 here.
Of course you have.
Got it too.
Read
Yeah.
it.
I haven't read it yet.
Read it, but keep in mind that book 1 is not the best book.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It's on the
I just read
TBR
Hyperion, actually.
somewhere.
because the Culture books are not really connected. Like book 2 is not a sequel of book 1. They're set in the same world. I think chronologically it's after book 1, but it's kind of irrelevant. You can read them in any order. I'd almost recommend reading Player of Games first because
I don't
it's
have that.
really good. Yeah, Considered Phlebas is also very good. No question. The Culture just as a series is awesome. But if you have a choice between reading Culture first or reading Hyperion first, read fucking Hyperion.
Yeah.
It lost me very early on with Space Tree. I couldn't get past
Okay, fair enough. If you can't,
I did try, and then I was just like, I know the name of this tree. That's the World Tree. What's it doing in space? And
Brazil,
that was
yeah.
weird enough for me to close the book and walk away.
okay.
Fair enough.
If you're that sensitive to space vegetation, then I guess it's not the book for you.
Well,
Unfortunately.
that's weird because I watched Tenchi Muyo growing up, and I don't know if that means anything to anybody on this panel.
Not
It's
me.
an anime with tree spaceships. So you
Which
would
is
think
exactly
that-
what that ship is.
Yeah, but name it something else. Name it something else. It was lazy.
I thought it was appropriate
really
because
cool.
it's not only
Yeah.
a tree that is a spaceship. It's a tree that is a spaceship that belongs to an order of kind of weird religious dudes. So calling it Yggdrasil kind of like seemed to totally make sense to me. But anyway,
It offends my autism.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
The
argue
end
with
of
that.
chapter 1 is worth it. Just for, Hyperion, just the end of chapter 1. That one was where I was hooked, actually. Because up to then, I'd enjoyed it. But the end really got me. And after that, I just had to read the rest. It's really good. It's worth reading.
The culture is really cool because it's one of the only. I mean, Terra Ignota kind of shares this as well. It's one of the only sci-fis I've read that really explores a completely, like, really bizarrely different post-scarcity culture.
Okay.
You know, it's like humanity has progressed beyond anything we can imagine to the point where everybody is basically a god in a way. And what then? You know, it's a really, really interesting sort of basic idea. Aslan, I assume, is excited about Hyperion because it's all caps. Okay, I haven't read anything else by Ian Banks, but I have read most of the culture. Orza, I always recommend to people to actually read the whole Cantos, like all 4 books. I don't think they're equal in quality, but I also don't think there's enough of a drop in quality that people should like skip any or just not read the Endymion duology or any of that. And I think that the stuff that the Endymion books, the second duology, what they do with the world and the story, I think is more than interesting enough to bother reading them. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm intending to finish the series, but when I have time.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle of way too many series. Yeah.
I keep hearing people say, "Oh my God, Hyperion's awesome, read it, but don't bother reading Endymion and Rise of Endymion." I'm like, what? That is just wrong. That is so wrong.
I have not heard that.
I've heard it a number of times.
I have the instant response clearly is the very small corner of booktube I'm in, because the few people I know who will go, I'm going to read Hyperion, are surrounded by people who go, you do need to read the whole all 4. So,
have you read it, Philip, or do you just own it?
I have read it again a long time ago.
It's been a while since I read it. But you only read the first one, or you've read all of them?
I think I only read the first 2.
I only read the first 2 as well. Like I love the first book, The Fall of Hyperion. I feel like I need to reread it. I had a lot of problems with it, but it came around in the end, and I just never felt compelled to continue into Endymion. So
it can also be difficult. I think the bridge from the 2 Hyperion books to Endymion can be difficult for people because it's a really different structure. It all happens 150 years or something later, totally different characters, etc.
I'll never forget this guy.
Right?
The Shrike is
terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes. And really, like,
Yeah.
Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion are literally one book. Like, they're not 2
Right.
books. They were also, it was one of those publisher things, you know. Like when I read Hyperion, the first time I was in university, I worked in a bookstore, and it was in a mall, so I would always take a book and go to the food court for lunch. And I'm sitting there reading Hyperion, and I finished it, and I was like, what? Because it ends. It's not even a cliffhanger. It just feels like an interruption, like the end of the book is interrupting.
I really liked the ending. I thought that was really cool, actually.
But it's totally built up to like something is about to happen, and then it just ends, just suddenly ends. And I left my food on the table, ran back to the bookstore, bought the second book, and went back to lunch.
I've done that.
To continue. I was just like, I was so annoyed. I was like, what? You can't stop a book like that. So I always say to people, if you're going to read Hyperion, buy both books. Make sure you have both books on hand.
I bought them all, so I've got them, and I'm intending to read them.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like, until I read it, I don't know. For example, I tried the second Rama book, which is by Clark and Gentry Lee. And I loved Rendezvous with Rama. But when I started the second book, I was like, this feels like something completely different. The writing is in no way similar. And I just couldn't get into it, whereas I loved the first one. So that one I didn't continue with, but this is a different story. I'm just hoping that I will love it, and I think I will. It's such a unique world that he's created. I love that.
It's also extremely different in structure. Like Aslan says, he doesn't believe that Hyperion was a book divided. They are very different. I mean, the first one has this very obvious sort of Canterbury Tales structure, right? And you can't keep that up forever, especially when the pilgrims have gotten to where they're going. Like, then your Canterbury Tales shit is done, you know?
Yeah.
Even Chaucer didn't keep it up forever.
And the second book is much more of a normal kind of story. It doesn't have that kind of structure because they're all together, first of all, and they've already told their stories and they've arrived where they're going. So it feels like an extremely different book in that sense. Christian was reading Earth of the New Sun and missed the notification. Arrived late. We still need to read that, Philip.
Yeah, I'm actually rereading.
I heard that somewhere, and I was like, "Wait, didn't we just do that?"
Yeah.
I mean, it's something
Are you doing it with John?
It's something you can reread.
Yeah.
I've read it like 4 or 5 times now, so
Wow.
you can
Yeah.
reread it many times.
I feel like it is something I will reread and not entirely understand even the second time. So I'll probably need a third.
Like reading it with you again was my 4th or 5th, and I'm still like, I know there's stuff I didn't get. Yeah. I have not 100%.
Say that about Malazan as well. On your first read.
Yeah, Malazan's different though. Malazan to me was like, I didn't come out of Malazan feeling like there were things I didn't understand. I felt like there were a number of things I probably missed. You know, or I just hadn't kept all of the facts in my head. Whereas
there's a lot of facts to keep in our heads, right?
Exactly. There's like over 600 named characters, you know, it's big stuff. But Book of the New Sun, I was like, there are literally parts of it where you read it and you're like, I think this is what just happened. Maybe, but I'm not sure.
Someone needs to make me read Midnight Tides.
What's that?
Is that someone needs to make me read Midnight Tides?
I would, if I could, I would come and bend your arm. Twist your arm behind your back, because Midnight Tides is awesome.
Maybe buddy read it with someone. I think, isn't Josh going to be doing Midnight Tides next?
Maybe
a buddy read?
I thought Josh was further than Midnight Tides, but I may be wrong.
No, he hasn't
With
done
my
Midnight
current
Tides.
fantasy burnout, Malazan is a bad idea right now.
But Malazan is not a slump breaker. No, I would not describe it as a perfect pick me up after a slump. No. I'm having a hard time. Philip, I think you're the only one around who's read this. Jared in the chat has read this. Return of the Crimson Guard. Didn't
Alan hate that?
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that Alan hates?
I can't keep track of all of the things that Alan hates. There are so many. I don't know. Might be. I'm having a hard time with it, to be honest. It's not an easy book.
It's my least favorite of the novels of the Malazan Empire. But after it, I feel like Stonewielder is my favorite, the one after
I've heard that.
And then the rest of them are really good. But the problem for me anyway with Return of the Crimson Guard is it's a bit stretched out, honestly. And it feels like it could have been 2 possible endings that could have come much earlier than the ending that's actually there. So but I would say that I still there's vital stuff that happens in Return of the Crimson Guard. If you're at all interested in knowing what the heck is going on in the Malazan universe, there's some really important things that happen. Certain characters' fates are decided in Return of the Crimson Guard, and that has huge effect on even Malazan Book of the Fallen. And
there is a certain, especially because there's like total 26, 27 books now, I think, between Erickson and Esmond. There is certainly a side of Malazan fandom which is purely lore focused, like where you're like, I don't really care how it's written. There is important stuff that I want to know in this book, you know. So, okay.
I want to hear about the Crimson Card. I am so curious after meeting them that I'm going to be reading it because I need to know more about the Crimson Guard. Yeah,
that was definitely one of the hooks in the Book of the Fallen. Like the Crimson Guard appears, and it seems like it's for like 20 pages, you know, and you're like, wait a sec. I got it clear, I think, that these guys are really important and really strangely scary, but and that's it, you know. And this, you get a lot more Crimson Guard, unsurprisingly.
Good.
They are extremely scary motherfuckers, you could say. Yeah.
I'm actually going to be reading the Esselmont books once I finish the Book of the Fallen. It's my intent to read everything in the series.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how obsessed I've become with this series. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Parts of Return of the Crimson Guard were written in the 80s and parts in the 2000s. Okay. Yeah. That kind of makes sense. Whereas this hot take, I completely do not understand. Kevin, you made it 800 pages and put it down? I just got to 800 pages and I'm just starting to love it. Like the
that
first
means I would put
half,
it down in 30 pages. I would have DNF'd that so fast.
maybe. Yeah, no, I also will not. I do not give a book 800 pages before DNFing. I just forget that.
But again, it's fantasy, so that could be like a third.
Yeah. I will maximum like 200 pages, and if I'm not into it, I'm out. I'll never get to 800.
I would go 1,000 on a book that I'm not loving. I find it very hard to DNF. I'm getting better at it, but whenever I'm reading something out of my comfort zone, that's when I'm more likely to DNF. Because I tried something like A Court of Thorn and Roses, and I lasted 50 pages. And I thought,
I've given it one attempt as well, and I was like, nah, not today.
Yeah.
Not today, Satan.
I haven't DNF'd anything in a long time, actually. I think last year I don't think I DNF'd anything.
Are you trying to get me to act up?
The challenge is out there. I mean, if anyone's going to say anything to that, it's got to be you.
Yeah, it's true. I DNF all the time. So.
Of course you do. You're the DNF.
I actually have a Patreon tier where people can stop me from DNFing.
No, you don't get to put that down.
Pay me to not DNF.
Basically, like I give those patrons 3 tokens, and they can spend a token a year, or 3 tokens a year, and stop me from DNFing.
That's leverage.
I might have to back you.
I'm just saying I'm that ingrained in it.
No, I mean it sounds like fun. Like it's like a button you can push and Andrew suffers.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like those psychological experiments they did. Okay.
Rogue, Howling Dark is amazing.
Damn, Rogue, what's wrong with you? I liked you right up until now.
I still like Rogue, but you're wrong.
All over. Howling Dark was,
Oh, it's amazing. I love
Yeah.
Howling Dark so much.
yeah.
Christian, you DNF Dungeon Crawler. I am
This is-
hooked on
this is why
Dungeon
my
Crawler.
heart hurts.
Come on, I just love it.
I
I'm
I
really enjoying it.
I waffled Dungeon Crawler, Carl. But we've talked
It's
about
one
that
of those
before.
series that's specifically like you can read the physical edition, but like the audio adds just a star and a half.
I waffled
better
the
audio.
audio.
Well, who was it? Somebody I was listening to is loving it, but they're eyeballing it. And my comment to them was, yeah, because it's a really great story. Like, it's fabulous. Read it. If you're not an audio person, okay, read the books. If you are an audio person, Jeff Hayes just lifts it into something else that's just better.
You've got to have a pretty sick, twisted sense of humor, though, as well. You got to be okay with
I'm
foot
sick and
fetish.
twisted.
I'm sick and twisted. I liked it.
My husband finally finished the first book, and we were supposed to buddy read that. We started it at the same time back in February. I'm through book 3 now. He finally just finished book 1 yesterday. So, and he liked it. He said 3.5 to 4 stars. I'm like, okay, I'm giving it 4 stars for you.
We're
So,
calling it 4.
I love
It
it.
just gets stronger from there.
It's not
Yeah,
shit. No.
Kevin's coming in hot.
Yeah, he is, isn't he, today?
Who? What?
No, I don't think it's shit. I think the first book does have a lot of stats, and that can put you off if you've never read lit RPG like me. But I haven't found that in the second and third book. That's all I'm up to right now. But after Toll the Hounds, I'm going to be reading number 4 because I can't wait to find out what's going to happen next. And I found that each book is getting better and better. And that's what I'm loving about the Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I never would have thought I'd be saying, but there you go. You
Same.
just don't know until you try sometimes.
book 3 literally made me cry. Like, it was, yeah.
It's never made me
Oh,
cry. It's made me cackle. It's never made me cry.
No, I did.
You mean like sad cry or happy cry? Or
It
just,
it was just
busted
a
gut?
very heavy scene. Not like, I don't know, I wouldn't even say sad, but it was just like the emotional weight of the scene was obviously impactful for me. So
Having audiobooks like half of the first book, I did not get the feeling that there was ever going to be anything in the series that would make anyone emotional.
Which is why
But-
I say to people, just
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
in
Give it time.
You
Give
know,
it time.
unless you actively hate it, keep going because it's going to get really strong.
yeah,
Seriously, nobody here is surprised by how much I love Hob, right? The character work in Dungeon Crawler Carl is right up there with Hob, and that is not faint praise.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I can't talk
do
about Robin
characters-
Hobb on this stream. There are
I-
3 people here who will attack me.
At least.
At least.
Which 3?
Which 3? I mean, obviously Derry, but
Well,
Yeah.
Matt, Evie, Derry. Philip will just kind of make a face at me.
Philip is far too polite to attack you.
Yeah, he's not going to have a go. Yeah.
You can't
being
wear
wrong.
tweed jackets and attack
I
people.
really love 9 of those books. Really love them.
Which is okay, and why we can still be friends. And I can just simply say that I question your taste and where your brain was when you read those last few books. But yeah.
Anissa
Anita's not reading right now.
prophylactically DNF DCC.
true. Matt, can you highlight Brian's comment? I just feel like it needs to be official on screen.
That
Okay.
is true. Very true. He
Like-
promised me to read it
And I have-
literally years ago.
The Warlord?
I mean,
Oh, it's
have
so
like-
good.
considering
Hallelujah.
like Philip's whole shtick,
Yeah.
I mean, other than the Tweed, but like the English professor, the medievalist, all of that, and hasn't read Warlord.
I know, right?
It does shake the
So-
foundations of your credibility.
It really does.
I've actually read the real Arthurian books from the Middle Ages, so I don't know if this lives up to that or not. But
That actually
I'll
makes
give
it
a go.
worse. Like you've read
Yeah.
you've read Lamort and all of the old school Arthur,
Yeah,
and yet you read modern
Yeah.
fantasy, and
Jeffrey
yet you
Monmouth.
haven't read.
I've even read the oldest stuff we have, like Gildas and Nennius, the oldest references to Arthur, and Jeffrey Monmouth and all the really old stuff, and of course some of the later French stuff and the German
It's
stuff.
literally-
And yeah, I have read. I will say, if you can count Tennyson's Idols of the King as the Arthurian remake of a sort, that's probably the. Oh no, I read Mary Stewart's Merlin books. Those are really great
It's
and
the
underrated and not
Only
talked
time
about
I've
enough,
ever read
really.
anything and consciously thought, as I'm reading something, Philip has to read these. I've never thought of somebody else having the experience as I'm reading it. But this series, well, it's just that you haven't read it already boggles my mind.
It is a
so
100% Philip coded book.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, but just realize it has a
It
lot to
will.
live up to because I've read all the original.
You
Arthurian
know,
stuff.
Philip.
little
You
bit
know,
more
Philip,
humor
that
in the
Arthur
original.
in the Warlord Chronicles wears the tweed jacket.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an improvement already. then.
For the people who love Warlord, if you haven't read Troy yet by David Gemmell, it's
Get on
just as good as Warlord.
Okay.
Warlord is
I haven't
amazing.
read either, so I can't say.
Oh, this made me fall in love with Gemmell
Okay.
because
Nice.
this is the book he was writing when he died.
Right.
The last one.
Uh-oh.
So I also like this is real booktube controversy recently. Philip hated Grace of Kings, apparently.
Where is this coming from?
I gave it 3 stars.
I heard Philip absolutely despised Grace of Kings and personally hates Ken Liu.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh my
I
God.
have.
Where is this coming from? Now, did anyone actually watch the conversation
No.
on Joanna's
No,
channel where we actually talked about
No, of course not.
Okay. Well, I didn't hate Grace of Kings. I didn't love Grace of Kings either. And Andrew giving it, I don't do star ratings, but Andrew giving it a 3 sounds fair to me, honestly. But I felt like he was going for, look, the quickest way for me to explain it is I felt like I was reading Fire and Blood instead of
That's fair.
a Game of Thrones.
It does
Okay.
feel like a history.
I was reading.
Yeah.
Oh,
It feels like a history, and it's a little dry. It feels like a folktale sometimes too, but it was just a little dry for me, and I was not blown away by the prose. But it was a good book. I actually enjoyed reading it for the most part. It was a good book, and what I've heard is Wall of Storms is like where everybody falls in love with the series. So that is what I'm looking forward to, and I've got the groundwork. I've got the history lesson. Now I'm in the world. And I'm ready to move on, and hopefully,
Yeah,
I'll love
Grace
the rest
of
of the
Kings
series.
is like the way before I started, it was pitched to me that Grace of Kings is a prequel, like setup book to the trilogy of Wall of Storms, Veiled Throne,
Yeah.
and Speaking Bones. So
Yeah, that helps. I think I would tell anybody reading it that you have to think of it that way because, yeah, it was fine. It wasn't, whoa, favorite series of all time. Like I know a lot of people feel very, they have a lot of praise for the Dandelion Dynasty as a favorite. Sorry, Ken Liu. I really didn't mean to hurt your sales.
I did buy the Broken Binding Midnight editions though, so I do
Just,
plan on.
just
continuing.
because they're pretty.
So you liked it enough.
They are pretty.
They are super pretty. I almost bought them, and I haven't even read the books.
Andrew, did you read the rest
No,
of the
I've
series?
been on hiatus with it for like 2 years.
I've had
Okay.
them on my shelf
Okay.
for 3 years, and just haven't. I don't know. I've been very mood ready in the last year or two, and I haven't looked at my shelf and thought, now is the time. I'm going to read Grace of Kings. So I still haven't.
I read the prologue. I read the prologue last year. And whilst I liked it, it didn't really grab me. But it was only the prologue, so
I will say the
intending to
favorite thing
try.
I've ever written by Ken Liu was 15 pages long.
The Paper Menagerie.
The Paper
Yep.
Menagerie story.
It made me cry in 15 pages.
It's
That
a
is not
super.
an unusual thing
moving-
to say, Andrew.
No.
It's pretty much what everybody says.
That is
So,
not a hot take. That collection of
I
short
didn't
stories.
present it as a hot take. I said it's the best.
Yeah.
thing I've
No,
read.
no. I've also got The Hidden Girl, but I haven't read it yet, which is
I've
another
got The Hidden Girl. I
collection
haven't read any
of
of it
his
yet.
short stories. No, he's awesome at short stories. No
yeah.
question.
So
Like-
for anyone that's going to be reading Ken Liu's collections, just be aware. And he mentions this. I'm paraphrasing what he does in his introduction to The Hidden Girl and Other Stories. Is the Paper Menagerie collection is like a greatest hits album, whereas The Hidden Girl is a much more personal, like his personal passion project. So yeah, they're both great, both 5 stars for me. But
Wow, Kev is bringing the hot takes today.
He really is today, isn't he? He's on fire.
Almost made
I
me
mean-
slit my throat.
I mean,
That's a review.
Wall of Storms is the worst book in the series for me, but I still really enjoyed it. I still give it like 4.5, 5 stars.
You're
Hot
really
take is that
selling it.
I love The Veiled Throne, which is apparently everybody else's least favorite. So
Yeah. Like saying it's like saying the worst Malazan book is whatever.
Reaper's Cup so far.
Wait,
For
we need
me.
to talk about
No, the worst
Ohio by
Malazan book
Memories
is
Stephen
of
Dust
Ice.
of Dreams.
Oh,
Dust of Dreams.
Memories of Ice for me
Really?
so far.
Yeah.
So Dust of Dreams is just the first half of.
Yeah, but it's
How
it's
many
got
pages
its
is
own
it?
cover, so you have to consider it a book. And it's but I mean saying the worst Malazan book for me is like saying better than most other books I've ever read. So still.
Yeah. So far,
Kevin,
it's
tell
been
us what you
Reaper's
actually like, sir.
Huh?
Kevin says he's not being a hater. We're just hitting on all the ones he actually hates today.
Yeah, okay.
well,
So what do
that's
you
why
actually
I said,
like,
quick, let's
Kevin?
talk about Ohio by Stephen Markley. He loves that book.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Never even heard of it.
You don't watch Jimmy Nuts apparently,
Again, I was
Not
going to
a ton,
say fake
no.
fan.
because
love
Jimmy Nuts
Jimmy
talked
Nuts.
about it like fucking nonstop for about 6 months.
I wouldn't go
I
that
don't
far.
watch a
At least
ton of
2
Jimmy.
weeks. But yeah, he did enjoy it.
Yeah, and then Kev was always in Jimmy's live streams going, "Ohio, let's go!" over and over again, basically. Is that correct, Kev? Is that a
I
good
suspect in
impersonation?
about 10 seconds, Kev's going to go, let's go! In the same vein.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
don't let me down,
But
Kev.
it seems like very it has a specific feel that I think works for people who are familiar with it.
Christian, you are wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with that. You are wrong, Christian.
Bonehunters cannot be anybody's least favorite Malazan book. That's just so wrong. Oh my god. I like someone dropped you on your head.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Honestly, that's why I want to continue Malazan, is to get to Bone Hunters.
Bonehunters is like objectively one of the top 3. Not just my opinion. It's like
My second favorite.
proven by science.
No, so far it's my second favorite, and I'm in the middle of book 8, so
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah, it's up
deserves to
there.
be.
See, when I first started reading, everybody told me Memories of Ice was mind-blowing, and I was so disappointed by it that, like,
Why were you disappointed in it? I'm curious.
I hated the battles at the end. I hated it.
Oh my god.
There's a specific. So the problem is I'm unable. I don't have the ability to suspend certain levels of disbelief. So there's this retreating battle at the end of the book, and the way it's described is bodies being packed up to the ceiling as they're retreating, and mechanically I can't make that work.
Okay.
It's an awful scene in my opinion, and
it is
just
a hard to
soured me.
imagine thing. Yeah. absolutely.
Oh, it's just like at some point the passageway becomes impassable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it describes this building as being so bloated with bodies that the building's walls are bulging out. And to me, that's just bad writing.
I don't know if it's bad writing. It's difficult to imagine.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's fantasy, Andrew.
Yeah, man,
No.
magic and shit.
Yeah, but they're not
No, I
using
get,
it.
I get where he's coming from, because I can only read within the parameters the author gives you. And if the author tells you that a building is structurally sound and then tells you that dead bodies can make the walls bulge, no.
I don't think
That's
it's
not gonna
supposed
work.
to
I
be
will admit,
literal
as
based
big
on the way Andrew's describing it.
as big a Malazan fan as I am, I also had a problem with that particular conceit. I loved the whole battle in general that was in that city, but that particular conceit, I was like, okay, the room is half full of bodies. Where are the new bodies coming from?
Thank you.
Like nobody else can get in. What's
Yeah.
going on? Yeah, no,
Those are the kind of things that trip me out.
No
Yeah,
books
and-
are
and-
perfect.
I'm
the
fine with
building
the retreating back.
because it's so full of dead bodies. I'm like that maybe if you were
That's
packing
right.
them in with a hammer or something, but like no, that's not how physics works. Even fantasy physics shouldn't work like that.
It's called
Yes,
hyperbole.
I got
guys.
that.
Yeah, I don't read in hyperbole.
Yeah,
My brain doesn't digest it.
I can deal with hyperbole if I've gone in knowing it's going to be there. Dungeon Crawler Carl, full of it. Totally okay with it. Love the series. But that's kind of built into the premise that it's going to be outrageous.
Rogue
That's
kind of has
actually
a
a
point.
very good point about the
I'm fine
dinosaurs
with
with goddamn
everything
swords
magic.
for arms. Yeah, excellent point, Rogue.
Although
Give me teleporting enemies who keep teleporting into the room, and then I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can accept that immortal elves exist and that floating cities exist and that undead dinosaurs exist, but there isn't anything anywhere in the book that explains any kind of otherworldly physics that would allow
Swarms people.
that particular conceit to happen. You know, like someone can say, okay, there's immortal elves in this world, and like, yeah, okay, cool. And then there's floating cities because magic, and like, yeah, okay, cool. And
I struggle with dinosaurs with swords for their hands.
that's the
have
best part of the
real
entire
issues
book.
accepting that they can do anything in life, considering they've got
They
swords.
don't
for
do
hands.
anything in life. They belong to a swarm culture where they have slave
Yeah, I just
creatures
struggle
that
with
do
this.
the rest
I
for
just
them.
struggle with them not stabbing themselves with the swords. And,
Yeah. What if they have to pick their nose or something?
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
That
So,
picks
I
them
don't know
with
if
just
you guys
absolutely
know that.
torn up nostrils.
Or how do they wipe when they're on the throne?
But which
I mean, it's a
throne are
cool
they
idea.
on?
I'm busy going,
it's not my
But
favorite
dinosaurs turned into chickens, so they're birds, so they're wings, so they're not using their hands for anything anyway. So, yeah, I'm okay with swords for arms.
Exactly. If chickens can get by without hands, then so can Ka-ching
That
Shema.
works for me.
thing.
I kind of approached it like Kevin, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is metal as fuck. And that's good enough.
And that's fine. That's a perfectly acceptable response. I am not neurotypical. I do not have that response when I have to have an
Reading
explanation for
fantasy
it. It has to mechanically
can find-
work within the parameters that I'm given.
ZK, we should have talked a long time ago because one of the main sales points in my Malazan pitch is dinosaurs with fucking swords for arms. Like, why? How could you possibly not want to read a fantasy series that has a race of dinosaurs that have fucking swords for arms?
Unless you're
I
Catholic.
tell you what, they wouldn't have sold it for me. No way.
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh, really? I don't know if I want to read this. Yeah.
But no, I get it. There's always
Jerome,
something that can trip you
Jerome,
up.
we're being totally ridiculous. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? We are not making good points. We're being totally ridiculous.
Happy birthday, by the way, Jerome.
Oh,
Yeah, happy birthday,
Oh, happy
Jerome.
birthday.
Birthday.
Woo.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, somebody should have pitched Malazan, and not only undead dinosaurs, but undead dinosaurs with swords for
With
arms.
swords
The
for
swords for
arms.
arms part is
Swords for
pretty
arms.
important. Undead dinosaurs with swords for arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean, we've got
There-
Anita saying so many spoilers. I'm thinking these are all things I know about Malazan, and I've
these
never
are
read
these
them.
are so
Elements are not
mainstream.
spoilers.
I picked up from BookTube.
There is nothing in the book that is spoiled by knowing that there are undead dinosaurs with swords for arms.
It's basically like looking at the
Basically.
book cover.
I wish the book covers had undead dinosaurs with swords for arms on them. They should.
Maybe we'll. No,
Was the Subterranean Press
Ooh.
might have
Okay.
one?
Yeah.
I know that Mark.
I wish there were
Simonelli
book
did
covers
some
that
of
I
the
could
covers in
afford.
France.
That had dinosaurs
Yeah.
with swords for arms on them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Now Sam has got to be trolling. I mean, didn't we just say dinosaurs, or at least I said dinosaurs with swords for arms like 15
I
times?
think we might have mentioned it.
Yes,
we
there
might
are
have done
dinosaurs
it.
in the last
I mean, Mitch has a great point. I think he just
Yeah.
mic dropped all of us in his trolling.
but the fourth dimension is time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it. Or you could just say it was in a Zath house.
Okay.
He was in that house. Now that I can accept. Yeah.
we can find a way
Yeah.
around it. There you go. Andrew, next time that this happens and you're like, no, can't do that. You just have to get a panel together until we can explain it sufficiently to allow you to continue.
Okay, fair enough.
Then you
I
can
need
go.
too late. Sorry. We
Well,
can't take any of that back.
Yeah,
I have-
in that
I have
case, you
been-
can't read Dungeon Crawler.
I have been
Carl.
screaming
It's the land
undead
force.
dinosaurs with swords for arms for years. If you've managed to get through without knowing that, you've
Yeah.
been really, well, first of all, not listening to me, which is not stupid, but yeah.
Yeah, and you won't handle the Mantors in Dungeon Crawler Carl if you can't handle dinosaurs with swords on their arms.
I love
Yeah.
the Mantars.
They're so funny.
There's change from on the sprayed edges of the broken binding. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's an
that's true.
ongoing
Hadn't thought of
picture
that.
of the sprayed edges.
Yeah, if you put all three of them
Very
together.
curious to see what the whole thing is going to be.
I'm thinking because they're doing it in sets of three that the next three are going to have their own picture. It's not going to be like a continuing pic, but who knows? Could be.
It
Have you
looks
guys
like it
seen-
could continue. Yeah.
Have you guys seen hidden pictures in the paper in pages? Instead of having the edges sprayed, they kind of flex it slightly, and just inside the edge is a
Uh-huh.
whole other image.
Oh, right.
Mm,
Like painted on the page
Yeah.
itself.
So that it's
Little
like a
strip.
whole other picture just
have not seen
inside
that.
the edge of
Yeah,
the page.
I think is it Dragon Mage Andrew
I've
that
seen
has
that.
it?
I already have it in hand.
By the way, Anita, your comment
Here we go,
implies
here
that
we
you're
go.
that you were going to read Malazan to begin with. You were never planning to read Malazan.
Ooh. Do that again, Andrew.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, that is amazing. Oh, I love that.
Funky.
That's so
Yeah, this is the
Funky.
Kickstarter Dragon Mage Edition by ML Spencer.
Cool.
That is so cool.
And the way it's achieved is if I open up the book, you can see that there is a slice on the
Yeah,
page
just a tiny, tiny bit. Yeah.
of an image, and then as you bend it, it added like 6 months to the production time of the book. But
It's
it was
tricky,
so
yeah.
beautiful.
Because I saw somebody showed up on some feed somewhere. It was the middle of the night, and it was really old leather-bound copies of old books. And one of them was an old Bible, and it had an angel or one of the saints. And then they also had the Necronomicon that someone had done a special edition of with a picture on it. And there was an old, I'm trying to think what it was. I can't remember.
There's some
but it
really
was
cool videos online of creators
Yeah.
who will pop a Lord of the Rings copy in a vise, and
and do
they'll
it and hand paint them. Yeah.
they'll hand
Seen it.
paint.
Oh,
orange
okay.
painting.
Right.
They're amazing. I was like, oh my God. It sent me down a whole rabbit hole. Hidden pictures on the edges of books. It was amazing.
I maybe I have some of those and I don't even know it.
Mm.
No.
Oh, I wouldn't know because I'm always checking for things like that on my book.
Dragon Age is
you're
the only
learning,
one I have like that.
So,
I do like the sprayed edges, but I also know they're a bit gimmicky sometimes. I mean, I love them, but it seems like every book now has sprayed edges. It was nice to just have a few here and there. That had
Sam, I
something
would answer your question, Sam, but that would be a spoiler.
off put 'em. I like the fact that the Way of Edan, particularly the special edition, has a nice naked hardcover. I think
I love the
that's
naked
what-
hardcovers. I wish they would do that more often.
Right.
I mean, I love
those
dust
add
jackets,
value
but
for me.
yeah, they always get damaged.
Yeah,
I mean, look at that. That's
it's
so
purdy.
Beautiful,
It's
beautiful.
definitely purdy.
Yeah.
It's just such a lovely thing to know that you've
I,
got.
I was a bit skeptical of the guild on the cloth.
Is it just the camera, or is it a little bit rainbowy?
Yeah.
It's
a
just
little
where the
rainbowy.
light is
No, I actually think that is.
Going-
It's got that not hologram.
Yeah.
Iridescent.
Iridescent.
Yeah, it's not
Mm.
just gold foil, because gold
Yeah, there's
foil
some
doesn't
purple coming
reflect like
through
that.
and a little bit of green.
Very
Aye.
cool.
Pretty.
I don't know if I would sit here and physically read from it, mainly because I'm afraid of the gilding coming off of the cloth, but I have paperbacks as well. So I have the whole series.
You're a good
And
supportive
multiple
friend.
And I
Well, I
haven't
mean,
even read it
That's
yet.
true.
I just do it to support Philip.
Okay, that is good supportive friend. I was going to say, you don't have to just be a supportive friend. They are actually good books. I've read them.
Yeah.
No,
And it's
Fine.
not
on
You haven't
reading
read
it.
them.
I was saying about.
I plan on reading it. I just haven't gotten to it.
Yeah.
Well, and highly recommend the audiobook.
I have that too. I own Way of a Day in 3 ways.
Yep.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I own 2 ways.
Funny.
Not- I will have to
paper colors.
There are
Work
dragons. Do
Sam,
people like paperbacks?
I think Sam's just trolling. Yes, there are dragons. There are not only dragons, there are shape-shifting people who can become dragons. And
Elves who can turn into dragons.
but more importantly, undead dinosaurs with fucking sword arms. Shut up about dragons. Everybody's got dragons.
Not
True.
everybody has dragons.
Should we maybe have a sprint? Speaking of books and reading and shit.
That sounds like a lot of work. Although I do have this One Piece that I need to get to.
Well, there you go.
I'm on volume 12.
I won't judge you.
There's
I
no
mean, we
judgment.
have the One Piece professor here, so I think
I
you're.
was about
you're
to say there's no
definitely-
judging in BookTube, but then I realised we've spent the whole last hour judging. So yeah.
English professor reacts to wizard reading One Piece.
Exactly.
We've already had a whole discussion on it.
Yeah.
We did.
We did. With
Anita?
John.
That's really cool.
Shut up.
Okay, everybody's feeling silly today.
Hey,
apparently.
Sam, I'm sorry. I assuming you were trolling. Your messages are so close to Anita's,
Yeah.
right? and Anita's only trolling, so it's hard to tell. But yes, Sam.
I had to spritz her with water in Jimmy's server the other day.
Dragons and dinos, indeed. Not only dragons and dinos. 11 or 12 sentient species.
Oh,
Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years of history. Potsherds. Can't forget the potsherds.
Don't forget shirts.
Yeah. No, it's pretty epic. It
And
is
some of the best
well worth
characters
reading.
ever. Yeah.
Some of the coolest characters ever, and some of the most, I would say, best and most original in many ways writing in fantasy.
Yeah. And
And
soul-sucking
soul-sucking swords. I mean, that's just a rip-off.
I was gonna say that sounds like very Elric inspired.
That sounds very
that's
more
one of the
yeah.
fundamental, bare bones of fantasy. I mean, come on.
Listen, if we're going to start
You
talking
wanna
about
know
Warcock,
actually
I'm going to turn
funny
into Kevin.
thing? The funny thing is, Steven Erickson didn't actually know about Elric. He hadn't read Elric, but Ian Esselmont had.
Really?
And when they were gaming the world, I think it was Esselmont that essentially ripped off Elric, and Erickson
no.
didn't know that. And
So then it's made it.
he has Animander Rake, and everything, but he didn't know about Elric.
Oh, that's really funny.
So he's over the years he was asked, "Did you get this from Moorcock?" He's like, "No, I haven't
In fact,
read
he
Elric,
did, but via Esselmont.
But it was Esselmont's idea.
So the guy who has long white hair and is overcome with ennui almost all the
Oh,
time and
that's
has
funny.
a soul-drinking black sword wasn't a ripoff of Elric.
Yeah. Not from Erickson's
Okay.
perspective.
The question is,
He got
has
it
he
from-
since read Elric?
I don't think so.
I mean,
Wow.
Evie knows how I feel about
He doesn't
Elric.
read
It
fantasy.
always seemed to me like when Animander Rake's sword appeared in the books and you find out what it is, I was like, that's cool. Someone took Elric's sword and asked the
included.
logical question: what happens to the souls it drinks? And I was like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. It's not just a ripoff; it's like an evolution. But
Yeah,
it's
doing
funny
its
that-
own thing.
yeah. Anyway, why don't we read until quarter to the hour? How does that sound?
Sounds good.
I'm actually probably going to dip.
All right,
I probably will too, actually.
because you both hate
because
reading.
I read.
Yeah. Look at my previous video.
Just look at all the books
All right.
behind them. You can tell they hate it, right?
Well,
Yeah.
No, but I mean, anyone can buy books as decoration. Come on.
I mean, we already
Sure.
know how many Andrew he hasn't read.
And I was
There
going
are-
to say, to be fair, Philip writes books, so
This is true.
Don't have to read them.
I've done that.
There are literally decoration services, and you can pay them for books by the meter.
I
Really
know.
seen that?
Yeah, you
I'm
can.
like, why? Why would you do
You
that?
can,
Why
you
not
can
just
buy
go out
books
and
by
buy
the
some
yard.
books that you want to read?
You
Yeah.
look intelligent.
So you
Yeah,
look
exactly.
cultured, I
Pretty
guess.
You look smarter than you are.
There you go, Andrew.
Mm.
All you need is a tweed jacket, and you can get away with having lots of books on your shelves that you haven't read. Oh, you
With
got
elbow
it.
pads.
It's not my look. And then now if I put it on, everyone's going to come at
Glasses,
me in the comments
tweed
being like,
jacket.
you're just trying to rip off Philip Chase.
And
You've
you're
already got
reading
the-
One Piece.
You've already got the
clearly.
glasses in the corner shelf thing happening.
Yeah.
You may as well just
Yeah.
put on a tweed jacket.
You know what? I
Just
didn't notice.
Sorry, Philip.
You both got the beard going
Got the
on.
beard, the glasses.
You need some Nepali t-shirts,
Andrew, start
some mandala
get your tennis
t-shirts,
lessons
or
in. Gotta start
Yep.
playing tennis.
yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I'm awful at tennis. Ping pong's more my speed.
That's okay. Philip's also awful at tennis.
No.
Oh,
Fired.
oh. I played 3.5 hours.
Doesn't-
of
Okay,
doesn't
that's
mean
just
you're good.
showing off.
Doesn't mean you're good.
I struggle walking up the hill, Philip. That's just showing off.
You would have actually, if there had been a camera there, it would have probably gone on ESPN.
Oh my
highlights, I
God.
think.
That good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
If you do say so yourself, because you have to, because no one else would.
I mean, I'm completely unbiased here,
No,
but-
we believe you.
so,
Yeah,
We all
totally.
believe.
thank you. But it was lovely to be here.
Thanks
I'm
for
holding
coming,
up a
man.
Sprint.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
I don't need to sprint because I play tennis for 3
Yeah, of
hours.
course.
So,
That's a
yeah.
sprint of sorts.
You're already well ahead of all of us.
I feel
Well,
I need to go light wood on fire and have a bonfire in my backyard. So
Cool.
Nice.
Also nice.
Uh-oh.
then I can burn all my books.
Exactly.
No, don't do that.
Please
Instead
don't.
of unhauling, this is the next evolution.
The next
Exactly.
evolution.
We can do book burning videos.
That would be a viral
Let's
video
please not
right
do that.
there. Andrew's pyro unhaul.
These can be for the ultimate DNFs where you don't even make it to like page 10 or something.
I would never. I could never.
No.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care, everybody.
See you guys.
Lovely to see you
Bye,
all.
guys.
So, let's read until. Actually, we're a little late, so let's make it till the hour. Little longer. I want to get some of my Crimson Guard done. Yeah.
I might head off as well, actually, then, because it's starting to get a little late for me.
All right, Kath. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Kathy.
Yeah, it was really good to see all of you. I was thinking
it
of staying,
was.
but I'm looking at the time and thinking, yeah, I think I should head off. It's been a big
Because you
day.
only
for
had
me.
a nap.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was lovely seeing you all, and have a great sprint. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See you, Kath. Cool. So, everybody, please mute your microphone and enjoy your read. See you soon. Hello.
Hello. You lost Derry.
We lost Derry. The Book Lounge is here, I think, for the first time. Hello. Ron, pub regular, is here, respecting everyone's reading time. How's your book?
It is great. I literally have 2 chapters left, totaling 14 pages. So,
Not figuratively,
yes,
literally.
literally. Literally.
Oh my God.
This much.
Cool. Yeah, as anybody who's heard ever anything about Malazan knows,
Dinosaurs
It's-
with fucking swords.
dinosaurs with fucking sword arms,
Hi, Derek.
first of all.
Hello.
And second of all, the structure of each book is almost always convergence. So the story jumps around all over the place, and there are lots of different groups of people doing different things in different places. And generally, at the end or near the end of the book, all of these things come together in one big epic something. Conflict, usually. And I'm just on the edge, I think, of the big convergence in Return of the Crimson Guard. Anitha is not here, apparently. Okay, Anitha, whatever. Aha, okay, avid book junkie. No longer the avid book junkie, now the book lounge.
Okay.
Hi, Marianne. Is it Marianne or is it Mariana?
Marianne.
Marianne.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. I always, being in a country that pronounces a lot of things differently.
Marianne, I'm hoping, is reading Assassin's Apprentice.
I think she mentioned it earlier, like 2 hours ago earlier, or an hour and a half ago earlier, but I'm sure she can tell us.
I don't know. George is looking okay.
George is still looking kind of
Fur coming back in.
funny, but
Yeah, her fur is
Yeah.
starting to grow back and be slightly normal
Yeah.
looking.
Is she
I
doing
saw
all right?
I saw a picture. I saw a picture yesterday of somebody's orange Maine Coon that, because of some sickness or something, had been shaved, but like really shaved, like down to the skin shaved. And it was like from here, the whole body except the paws.
They look
And
so
it was-
silly.
It was so ridiculous looking. It looked like Photoshop.
Enormous
Like
head.
tiny, thin, scrawny, pathetic little body, and then boosh, head. And
That's
boosh,
how George looked
paws.
when I brought her I
So-
brought her home after she got her lion cut. I'm like, oh, you look ridiculous.
Yeah,
It
that's
was so ridiculous. Oh my god. Also read, we were talking about it earlier, a very interesting short story from Hidden Girl.
Which short story from Hidden Girl, Osa?
Yeah, also, which story? Tell us.
So
Marianne says she's more than halfway. And how are you
Yeah.
finding it, Marianne? Be careful what you say.
true story.
She's more than halfway, and she only started it a couple of days ago.
So she must be into it,
So I'm guessing that's a good thing.
which is the correct reaction.
Also, she could, if I imagine, if Marianne wasn't enjoying it, she would just have said, "I'm reading one."
I'm reading a book,
Yeah.
which shall remain nameless because I don't want to get beaten up by Derry or anyone else.
Like everybody on screen
Pretty much, yeah.
currently.
Ron is reading a short story collection by David Brin. I haven't heard the name David Brin in a long time. Yes, David Brin is very
I was just going to
80s.
say,
Yeah.
I'm very.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoying it very much. Yes, that is the correct answer, Marianne. As you should be. Oh, cool. Whoops, Derry dropped out again. Started the Great Book of Amber by Zelazny. Very cool. Amber is awesome, old school, very different old school fantasy. Not at all like any other old school fantasy that you'll ever read. It's quite unique
So,
in the world of fantasy.
considering I have 14 pages left of this, I'm definitely going to finish it, assuming we have another sprint in the next sprint.
What?
I have two options. There might be a secret third option that I can't think of right now, but the only two that I can think of right now. So either picking up. So let me backtrack. So I need something short to read because the new Emily Henry book comes out on Tuesday, and I'm dropping everything
Right.
to
Because
read that book, dadgummit. So, option 1, McGlue by Tessa Moshfegh.
How have you always got books I've never even heard of?
She wrote Lapvona, which is
I know her name, but I've never heard of the book. I know Lapvona, yeah.
So McGlue. We'll just read the back of it for a dramatic reading. Salem, Massachusetts, 1851. McGlue is in the hold, still too drunk to be sure of name or situation or orientation. He may have killed a man. That man may have been his best friend. Intolerable memory accompanies sobriety. A sail on the high seas of the literary tradition, Tessa Moshfegh gives us a nasty, heartless nasty, heartless blackguard on a knife-sharp voyage through the fogs of recollection. So that's McGlue. My other option, and again, there might be a third option that I'm not thinking of right now, is Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Which everybody says is great.
I've read that one. It's good.
This is not a new Tessa Moshfegh. This is like one of her earlier books, I think.
Okay.
2014. So.
Yeah, I need to get to Ogres. I have actively been holding myself back the last few months from
I don't know that it's necessarily
basically
save it because it's
only
great.
reading.
But it's
Holding
good.
myself back from only reading Tchaikovsky.
When was the last Tchaikovsky? What was the last
God.
Tchaikovsky you read, though? Other than Guns of Dawn.
I think Guns of Dawn was the last one. Before that was City of Lost Chances. And I've already got on my shelf waiting to be read Bearhead, Doors to Eden or Door to Eden, Children of Time.
I feel like you're doing a really
Lots
good
of
job of
things.
holding yourself back because I would be
that's a
doing
lot.
like at least one a month.
Well, I also haven't been reading hardly at all
Oh,
for a month or two. I've been very
That's
slumpy.
Because I've read quite a few of his really short stuff, and because my library has a really lovely little sub press collection of hardcovers of them. What?
Wow. Why does a library
I have no idea.
must have been a
I'm very
donation or
happy about
something?
this, but I don't know why.
Cool.
I'm glad they do, but I've read a whole bunch because of it.
Right.
And
Rogue, for your benefit, I've read from both authors and enjoyed both authors before, so
Yeah.
it's not a bad option either way.
Yeah.
So
No, I have very little doubt that Evie will enjoy Ogres, even if I haven't read it.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was
Yeah.
really
Aslan is playing Colton by repeatedly every stream saying that I and everyone must read a particular book. Colton was basically doing that with Boy's Life until I read it, and then I read it, and he shut up about it.
It works. It's a manipulative style that actually is quite effective.
The author himself sent me a hardcover of House of Open Wounds signed.
nice.
So I will definitely read it. Adrian is an awesome guy, and we were texting about just bullshit at some point, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, would you like a copy of House of Open Wounds?" I'm like, I'm not going to say no. I mean, I
Yeah.
already own it, but if you want to send me like one of your copies, signed, cool. That's fine. Yeah.
Very cool.
Um,
You've been
But-
being slumpy. A short one by Tchaikovsky can be a good way to
Sure.
back into this one.
Yeah. I was actually thinking
Admittedly, I wish.
when I finish this, I am stubbornly committed to finishing this. And I've
I know, but
only
You could
got
pick up a Pratchett.
150
It's not
pages
gonna
to go.
confuse you.
No,
Say-
but I think I'm gonna finish this first, and then I will pick up a Pratchett for a break. I forget where I am. Feet of Clay, and then
Then
Snuff, Django.
watch, aren't you? Might
Yeah.
be Jingo.
Yeah. So whatever's next in City Watch, I'll probably read next. Yeah, everybody that has read Ogres has said it's pretty awesome.
How-
So
How much do you have left of Return of the Crimson Guard again?
about 150 pages ish
How long do you think that would take you?
tomorrow.
You want to plan an impromptu buddy read, but not buddy read of Ogres then?
We could, although I don't think I own it yet.
Oh, you don't? Oh, I
I
thought
don't-
you already had it. I'm sorry.
Oh wait, no. Is it? Let me.
It's in the Terrible Worlds.
As much as I hate to stand up, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh.
My potential, by the way, Derry, a potential third option that I considered, but then I realized I don't think I'd be finishing it in like 2 days, was Arrows to the Queen.
Oh, you should really, really need to be reading it. They're just really. I think of you when I read it in terms of this is a character that is similar to Evie, and because she's the main character, and yeah, and horses who are
And horses. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
that's-
go.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
So
Yeah.
apparently I have it. Yeah, ZK, I read Elder Race was actually the first anything that I read by Adrian, and it's really cool. It's a super cool idea.
Oh, I forgot I have that too. Damn.
Yeah, it's quite a
haven't read that
cool
one.
little thing.
But I read Children of Time and Guns of the Dawn are the only two like full length novels of his I've read, and I liked both of them a lot.
I haven't read anything I didn't like yet. So, I mean, Gogs of War
Yeah.
was excellent. Aslan is correct. He only mentions House of Open Wounds when Tchaikovsky is mentioned, which is every stream. Yes. You are correct, Ron. My gout is a pain in the ass, or actually foot. You weren't here earlier, but I have, for the first time, for variety, I have heel gout instead of big toe gout, which is nice.
Doesn't
Really
I thought
enjoying
for
the
whatever
change.
reason when you were explaining that gout usually manifests in the foot, I'm like, I thought gout was like the neck for whatever.
That's a goiter.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
That's a goiter. A goiter is a totally different thing that I luckily do not have. Yeah. No, gout is foot, and it's fucking annoying.
I didn't realize just in the foot. I actually before today happened in any.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure it's only in the foot. I've certainly never had it manifest anywhere except in my foot. But I'm pretty sure it's only, or at least primarily, in the foot, specifically the left foot. Oops, Derry dropped again. She's having internet problems, I guess. And she's back.
The weather is foul, and we cyclone sitting just off the coast.
Aha. Okay.
So, which I can kind of see now up.
Sam, thank you again for sending me House of Open Wounds. That was why I already had a copy when Adrian sent me a copy, but I didn't read it soon after yet.
How dare you?
I suck. Yeah, obviously.
No, that can't be a thing we're going to allow, because otherwise I am so behind in stuff that Evie has sent me to read.
And I am behind on everything that everyone has sent me. So
Yeah, so we're not going to go there.
now, hey, third option. I just realized.
No, Ron, it is not what Victorians called arthritis. It is a thing all unto itself. Trust me, because I also have sort of light arthritis in my hands. But no, gout is a totally different thing. And you can't just walk on your toes like a ballerina. First of all, because I'm not a ballerina and I can't do that shit. And second of all, because it's kind of hard to explain. You learn a lot about how the mechanics of your foot works when you have gout. Things you would never think about otherwise. If your heel is just like this and is not doing anything, then my gout doesn't hurt. But if you stretch your foot that direction or that direction, then my gout is fucking killing me all of a sudden. So if I were to walk on my toes, which would do this with my foot, that would be extremely painful, even though I'm not actually bumping anything with my heel. Basically, I have to
So would it work? Put on a
I have to
roller
hobble around and try and keep my foot at exactly a right angle, and not bump my heel on anything. Basically, if I hobble around at all, it hurts like hell, and I just try not to.
Urza.
Yes, it's crystal formation in the joints caused by uric acid. It hurts like the male offspring of a female dog. Actually, it hurts like a female dog. Basically. Yeah.
How are you? Unrelated. Because I don't think we talked about reading when we were done with the sprint. How are you liking Return of the Crimson Guard since you're in the last 150 pages?
It's coming towards a really big conflict, which I'm now invested in. It was like for half of the book, I was enjoying the lore, but I was having a hard time tracking, kind of keeping track of what all of the characters were doing and who they were, which side they were on and where they were and all of that. But they're now all sort of coming together, which makes it easier because oh, they're all here. You don't have to keep track of all the details because it's like they're all here and they're all trying to kill each other. And these guys are on that side and these guys are on that side. And it's all pretty clear now. So yeah. Yeah, Sam, my gout is it completely doesn't exist when I'm not having a gout attack. Like there isn't any problem. And then it flares up every now and then.
I was gonna say, is it a flare? Is it certain things that flare it up? Like, is it like heat?
Technically, it's mostly food things.
Okay.
But they are mostly not food things that I indulge in very much. Like if you eat a lot of red meat, that will cause a flare up. Or if you drink a lot of beer or alcohol in general. And I don't drink very much and I don't eat a whole lot of red meat, and I get it anyway. It can be something that is more genetically based. Yeah, exactly. Fatty foods and alcohol. Yeah, it can also, it's not only that though. It could also just be a genetic predisposition, and you will get it when you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derry is having internet problems. I will pop her back in when she manages to join again, if she manages to join again, but she's having a hard time. Yeah, expectations low for Crimson Guard is not a bad idea because it's one of Asselmont's early books. And like someone said earlier, it was written over like a 20-year period, which is kind of noticeable, I think.
Is it separated into parts?
It's got 3 books within it.
Okay.
Which then have chapters. And I'm not sure exactly where the cut was, like what he wrote when or whatever, but I'm finding the last half definitely more interesting and engaging than the first half. But it's just a really chunky book, and most people seem to agree. A lot of people like it, but most people seem to agree that his novels of the Malazan Empire get better after Crimson Guard. So, but it's not bad. It's not bad. There's about to be a big, exciting climax that I'm really interested to see what the results are. Because it's kind of weird, because it takes place chronologically. It takes place between books that are in the 10-book series, the Book of the Fallen. So you've already seen things in the world after this book, but not these things, and not in this place with these people. So
I mean, from everything that I've heard, like Return of the Crimson Guard is mentioned in like one paragraph in one of the Malazan books. And then that's it.
The Crimson Guard are mentioned. They actually appear in, I forget which book it is, because I can't keep them straight. But yeah, they turn up for like 20 pages in one book, and you're like, these guys are interesting, and then they're gone. You know, and you like you hear about them. They're mentioned by other characters, and you know that the Malazans have fought with Crimson Guard, and there's something going on there, but it's never really gone into in any detail. And this book is mostly about them and about things around them. So you get a lot more. It's good for lore. Okay, it looks like Derry's probably not going to manage to join us again. Yeah, it's really insane. And I mean, I guess in a way, it like gout as a medical condition is a lot better than a lot of medical conditions, but it's also kind of annoying because, like, if I sit still, I can forget that it's happening. And as soon as I stand up, I'm intensely reminded that it's happening.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, Orsa's read Crimson Guard, didn't love it, but liked it. Yeah. Yeah, Rogue, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm doing a very slow reread of the Book of the Fallen, and then I'm doing the ultimate reading order, which puts Crimson Guard right in after Reaper's Gale. Do they appear in Gardens of the Moon?
I don't remember them being mentioned in Gardens of the Moon.
I don't think I mean, they're mentioned. They're definitely mentioned, but I don't think they actually appear. But they do appear. Iron Bars and some buddies appear in Midnight Tides. Yeah, I think that's right. Correct. Yeah. So, but we could, let me see. I haven't actually looked at it, but what is this Terrible Worlds got in it? For those of you that don't know, Terrible Worlds Revolutions is a collection of, I think, 3 novellas.
Ironclads, Firewalkers, and Ogres.
Exactly. And then there's another one of these coming out called Terrible World Something Else, which is a collection of 3 other shorter.
Has that even been announced, though? Like publication date or anything?
I don't know, but I do remember. I don't remember the details. But for some reason, I remember. I have it in my head that it's definitely happening. Maybe it's something that Adrian said at some point. I think he said it when I did the pub interview with him. Yeah, I think he said something about it that it's in progress to make that happen.
Nice.
That there is definitely going to be another one of these, and it's going to have some things. And this is what I was interested in. It's going to have some things in it which you can't really get anymore because they were published as very limited run. I forget what it's called, but there's one particular story of his that everyone says is amazing, which you can't get anymore.
Yeah, it's shit. I have it. Walking to Aldebaran or something.
Yeah. Walking to Aldebaran. or The Walk to Aldebaran, or The Way to Aldebaran. I can't remember. But yeah.
I think Put Away Childish Things is also going to be in there.
Exactly. Put Away Childish Things, the Aldebaran one, whatever it's called, and something else. I can't remember.
One Day All This Will Be Yours.
One Day All This. Yeah, exactly. It's those three, I think.
Yeah.
And that is apparently happening. I don't know when. I don't know the details, but it is meant to be happening. Faux show. Yep. I wanted to encourage more people to watch the Wheel of Time show, specifically the 3rd season. I've watched all of it, the 1st and 2nd season. The 1st season is pretty The 2nd season is a bit better. The 3rd season is way better than both of the previous seasons, and just ended. So it's complete. You could binge it. And it's epic. And I'm saying this as someone who did not like the first book and did not read the series, and doesn't care about the books. So if you're a book purist and you don't like the idea of adaptation, you want your shows or movies of your books to be faithful reproductions, which they never are, then you may not like it. I know that Kathy doesn't like it, and she's a big Wheel of Time fan, and she sounds like she kind of hates the series, mostly, I think, because they did make a lot of decisions, apparently, about certain characters. There are characters that die that didn't die in the books, and stuff like that. But I think they've been doing an excellent job. It's some of the best fantasy TV I know of. YouTube Creeders suggested rereading order from Last Book of the Fallen. Yeah, I also put in the Boak Lane and Corporal Broach in pub order. There's a reading order called the Ultimate Reading Order, which came from a long discussion on the Malazan Reddit or subreddit, and a bunch of Malazan heads got together and said this would be our recommended reading order if you were to read everything in some sort of order. And it's actually listed on the wiki, on the Malazan wiki. The Ultimate Reading Order is on there. So that's the reading order I'm doing. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, so
because
I just realized that B Speaker comes out in June.
I haven't read Barehead yet.
I haven't read Dogs of War even.
Oh.
So my intention is to hopefully read the new Emily Henry book in basically a day. So I have, 2 weeks left or whatever. I don't know how time works. How many days are in April? A week. Okay, like a week.
I don't do time either.
Something. So I think I will just start Dogs of War when I finish God's Country. Put it down to read Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and then read the rest of it, and then do 1 book a month. Well, Barehead next month as well. So
okay.
Speaker. But
maybe let me know.
Let me know.
Yeah, that would actually be a nice in between after Return of the Crimson Guard. So maybe sometime this week we could pick up Ogres. And maybe when you start Barehead, let me know, because I want to read Barehead. I've got it already. I've already read Dogs of War. When you get to Barehead, let me know, because I also want to reread or read Barehead and get ready for B Speaker. It's a really cool, interesting world that he's created.
And I mean, Dogs of War is the favorite thing that he's written, like his favorite thing that he's written, right?
Yeah. He was really, really happy with it, for sure. Yeah. All
right, so it's official. I am going to. Where is my copy of Dogs of War? It's somewhere around here.
I don't actually know, Rogue, because I don't know Creeder's suggested reading order. It might actually be the same, or similar. Essentially, it's Knight of Knives somewhere in there, but otherwise it's read the 10 after Reaper's Gale, Return of the Crimson Guard, then read the rest of the 10, then the other novels in the Malazan Empire, and so on and so forth. But yeah.
All right. Bookmark is in. Give me the next one.
You're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, the Dogs of War is really, really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's a really interesting world. It's
I mean, if I really
emotional.
get into it, I might be like Matt. Screw ogres. I'm
have to read
neck
Barehead
deep
now.
into Dogs of War right now.
Fair enough. I can understand it. When I read Dogs of War, I didn't have Barehead yet. And I think if I had it there, I probably would have read it immediately.
Yeah.
Like when I finished Shards of Earth, I was like, when I started getting near the end of Shards of Earth, I just ordered book 2 and 3 in the Final Architecture, and I was like, I'm not reading anything else until I'm finished.
Nice.
It's just so good. Speaking of reading, should we have another little sprint?
Yes.
How about until the hour again? And then we can sign off.
Cool.
Yeah. Make sure you mute yourself and uh-oh. Deal with it, Anita. Deal with it. So Hello.
Hello.
Evie hates Anitha confirmed.
I mean, was this ever
In doubt?
in doubt? Yes. So in all,
No.
yeah, all joking aside,
It is known.
I was very vocal that my next Tchaikovsky was going to be Shadows of the Apt, let alone
Yeah.
series that I was going to read by him. And like I told her, 3-book series sounds much less daunting than a 10-book series. So,
And it's a 3 not very big book series.
exactly.
I read Dogs of War in like 2-3 days. So yeah, it's a pretty easy read. And I can guarantee you, when you finish Dogs of War and the other 2 books, Shadows of the Apt will still be there.
It's true.
It will not disappear. In the meantime, anyway, it is getting late here. I'm gonna call it for the pub for this week.
How much did you get? How much do you have left now of Return of the Crimson Guard, by the way?
I'm on page 853. So now it's actually more like accurately 150 pages or 200 pages actually. Because
Lied to me? Oh yeah.
Aslan's thinking of starting Shadow of the Apt. I'm curious about Shadow of the Apt, but there are Tchaikovsky's so prolific. There are many other things I would rather read by him first that are more urgent in my mind, like finishing Barehead and then Beastspeaker and House of Open Wounds and
Days of Shattered Faith.
Days of Shattered Faith.
And then the novella that comes out this fall for the Tyrant Philosophers.
And Tori also gifted me Doors of Eden, and I've not read any of the children books, so Children of Time is up there, and I'll get to Shadow of the Apt, I'm sure, one day, but it's not high on my Tchaikovsky priority list. So anyway, I'm going to call it. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, everybody who was on screen and is no longer. Thank you, everybody in the chat. It has been a blast, as usual. This makes my gout attack somewhat more bearable.
Well, I mean, also, you pretty much only had to sit down this entire time.
It gives me something to do where I'm not moving. So, yeah. I wish everybody a lovely time this week. I hope everything is awesome. I hope you are reading good books, and I will see you next Sunday in the pub. Until then.